you do it again. You're standing in the shower, or lying in bed staring at the ceiling, or watching the city move past your window during a quiet commute. And suddenly, you're gone. Not physically, but mentally, completely somewhere else. You're replaying a conversation that never happened, winning an argument from 3 years ago, explaining yourself perfectly this time, saying the exact words you wish you had said. Maybe you're imagining success, a moment where everyone finally understands you. Maybe it's a romantic scene that feels warmer than anything in your real life. Maybe it's preparing for disasters that probably will never come. And then something pulls you back. A sound, a notification, the realization that you've been staring at nothing for several minutes. And when you return to the present, there's a strange emotional aftertaste. Part relief, part disappointment. Because for a moment, the imagined world felt more alive than the real one. Let's talk honestly about what this actually is. You're not just daydreaming, you're building realities. Detailed, emotional, immersive simulations running inside your mind. And here's the important part. They are not random. Your brain is not wandering without purpose. It is trying to solve something that reality hasn't resolved yet. So before anything else, hear this clearly. You are not broken. You are not weak. And you are not wasting your life. Your brain is doing exactly what it evolved to do. It is simulating. The brain that never stops rehearsing. Inside your brain is something called the default mode network. It activates when you're not focused on tasks, when your mind is free to wander inward. For some people, this network doesn't just drift, it constructs. It builds entire emotional environments, running alternate versions of your life. Psychology calls this counterfactual thinking, imagining what could have happened, what should have happened, or what might happen next. Your mind is essentially asking one constant question. What if? What if I said this instead? What if they understood me? What if things went differently? Your mind is a prediction machine. Just like pilots train in flight simulators before flying real planes, your brain rehearses emotional situations before facing them in reality. It tests responses. It searches for safety. It tries to regain control. Because real life rarely gives closure, but imagination does. Why these scenarios feel so powerful? In the real world, you cannot control outcomes. You can't control how people interpret you. You can't rewind mistakes. You can't guarantee understanding. But inside your mind, you are the writer, the director, the audience. You get to say the perfect sentence. You get to be heard. You get to win. And if you've ever felt misunderstood, overlooked, or powerless, these internal worlds become incredibly comforting. They give you agency. They give you resolution reality never offered. And that is deeply human. But here's where the line quietly shifts. When simulation becomes escape. At first, imagination prepares you, but slowly it can begin to replace action. You rehearse the conversation so many times, you never actually have it. You imagine success so vividly, the real effort feels exhausting. You replay old pain so often, your nervous system believes it's still happening. The tool meant to help you move forward begins keeping you still. And something subtle happens. Your inner world becomes predictable. Your outer world feels chaotic. So your brain chooses the safer place, the imagined one. Reality is messy, unscripted, full of uncertainty. But imagination always listens to you. The hidden role of control. Most people don't realize this, but many mental simulations are not about creativity. They're about control. When life feels uncertain, the brain compensates by creating certainty internally. Especially if you grew up needing to anticipate reactions or learn that being prepared emotionally kept you safe. Your mind learned, if I imagine everything, nothing can surprise me. So it keeps running scenarios over and over. Not to trap you, but to protect you. The problem is that protection sometimes becomes isolation. You begin reacting emotionally to events that only happened in your head. You feel anger toward people who never heard the imagined conversation, disappointment toward realities that never promised your script. And slowly, the gap between your internal life and external life widens. Working with your mind instead of fighting it. The goal is not to stop imagining. You can't shut down a brain designed to simulate. The goal is learning how to guide it. First, externalize the scenario. When you notice yourself looping, write it down. Not perfectly, just honestly. Psychology calls this expressive writing, and it works because your brain stops replaying what it believes is unfinished. Once the thought exists outside your head, the loop weakens. Second, ask one question. Is this preparing me or protecting me? Preparation leads to action. Protection avoids discomfort. Both feel similar, but only one moves your life forward. Third, contain the simulation. Give it time instead of letting it take time. 10 minutes of intentional reflection teaches your brain that imagination is a tool, not a home. You can visit, but you don't live there. Fourth, gently return to the present. Feel your feet. Notice your breathing. Look at something real in front of you. This activates sensory awareness and quiets the simulation network. You're not forcing yourself back. You're reminding your brain where life actually happens. The truth about your mind. Your mind is not your enemy. It's a river, sometimes calm, sometimes overwhelming. You cannot stop the current, but you can learn not to be carried away by every wave. Those imagined worlds were never mistakes. Some of them protected you when reality felt unbearable. Some helped you survive loneliness. Some gave you comfort when nothing else could. And that matters. But they were always meant to be rehearsals, not replacements. Your real life is still here. Messy, unpredictable, unfinished, but real. And maybe the most powerful thing you can do isn't escaping into perfect scenarios, but stepping gently back into an imperfect moment and choosing to live it anyway. Because reality doesn't need to be scripted to be meaningful. It just needs you present enough to experience it.